Hey guys, welcome to MVP Coach's Corner, where Bro Logic goes to die, covering nutrition, contest prep, PEDs, coaching, and living the lifestyle of bodybuilding. If you're just watching this video now, make sure you please like and subscribe, and turn on your notifications for our next video. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Coaching Corner, where Bro Logic goes to die. Today, when we talk about setting yourself up for success, and we have three pretty successful people here, so I think we have the right team to talk about how to do that. So, hey guys, I know it's Sunday. How you both doing today?
Um, good. I went for a nice little walk today. It's nice out finally.
Finally, right?
Yeah. How about you, Mark?
Can't complain. I try to do this soundboardy thing behind me. I guess I have more room to do. I see a little space right there, so
Yeah, I
I'm
see
gonna.
that space too.
Yeah, it's gonna fuck with me all fucking podcast now. So I'm gonna turn my camera off. I'm gonna fucking see it. But beside that, I'm Gucci. How about you, Cole?
Pretty good. Long day. I mean, drove from Pennsylvania to work and then drove home.
Yeah, your car loves you
Yeah.
for that.
Oh, my car is like brink of death.
I had the same car as you, remember? So like I
Oh,
know.
I know. I'm waiting. I know it's gonna come one of these days. Like it's gonna hit.
Yeah.
When it dies, it's gonna
Mine.
die out of nowhere, like nowhere.
Oh, I've had that
It
happen a
gives
couple times.
scares
Like
like every day.
Hold on. I gotta ask you because mine used to do this. Does it ever randomly turn off when you're on the highway?
yes.
Yeah. So by the way, that's an oil pressure issue. I don't know if you knew that.
I
The
fixed it
recall
three
on it.
times.
Yeah, it keeps happening. Um, I remember this is the funniest fucking time it ever happened. Me and Bruce were competing in Eastern Championships, and we woke up at 4:30 in the morning, because our friend Taylor worked for Liquid Sunrays, but she was gonna tan us again in the morning because we didn't think that we were dark enough. Um, so 4 in the morning, we're driving and she's opening up the tanning salon just for us to spray us again. And on an exit ramp, it just turned off. And when your car turns off, you lose steering. It locks up. So I literally just drove directly into the curb.
Oh my.
And he was like, "What the fuck, dude?" And I was like, "It just turned off, man." I'm like, "Don't worry, I turn right back on." He's like, "Does this happen all the time?" And I was like, like once in a while." He's like, "Really?" And he's like, "You guys haven't like given up yet?" And I'm like, "No, it'll work. It's give it like 2 minutes." And it's okay, there we go.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh, you're
I have
lucky.
no
Yours is like
idea why they haven't
goes
done like
on.
a recall to a point. They just like, hey, you know what? You're probably gonna die in the car, so like, let me just give you like $10,000 so you don't die in my car.
Right. I'm just glad
Yeah.
it happened when I've driven your car. So
It's terrifying when it happens. You're like, fuck, fuck, fuck.
yeah.
Oh shit. Fuck. God damn it. And it's at a red
Yeah,
light
especially
too.
on the highway, dude.
Yeah, we
You're
had
just like,
to get out
fuck,
of red
fuck,
light.
fuck.
Dude, it happened at the red light. We were going to the gym the one time, and I go, it always happens right after I
And I'm
get
just
gas.
like
Anyways,
freaking
I
out.
was like, I made it up the street. Let's go.
When I was driving Lyft in Florida, it happened with a customer in the car once, and they're like, "Is it gonna die?" And I'm like, "No, no, no. It's like every time." And they're like, "Okay." You're like trying to explain it to someone who's never seen it happen. They're like, "What the fuck? Do your car just break?" And I'm like, "No, it always does this." Okay,
Yeah.
seems
Yeah,
safe.
I
Okay.
just shorted it a little bit. My bad.
Yeah, randomly just turns off for no reason.
Yeah.
We're good though.
I love it. I love it. So I know today we're gonna be talking about how to set yourself up for success. And for a lot of people, especially like starting a program or who haven't really lived in this lifestyle too much, it's sometimes very, very overwhelming to start. And like I know like both of you have been doing this for a little bit. So like let's start with you, Bree. Like when you first started, I guess adapting and becoming we would say like a gym goer, let's call it, right? Because there's obviously levels to this, right? Like you
Yeah.
start like, hey, I go to the gym. Now I'm a gym goer. Now I live this lifestyle. And now I compete. It's kind of like a caterpillar to cocoon to butterfly scenario. But like when you first started, like how did that feel to you?
So first started going to the gym or first started
Like
bodybuilding?
the whole combo, like start going to the gym, start prepping meals. Like how did that all lay out for you?
Um, Honestly, being an athlete, I feel like I already had that structure and I was already able to really set things up for myself. whether it be like getting food ready the night before, knowing that we had to leave early for a game. So even before I was bodybuilding and had set meals, was kind of doing that in a way for myself already. And even with schoolwork, I like to plan everything out. So like just going to the gym and having that structure, um,
Hmm.
I felt like was already kind of ingrained in me because I was an athlete.
That makes sense. And like I come from the complete opposite spectrum of that. I was the athlete that was late to everything, who forgot things every I can't tell you how many lacrosse games I played in without a cup because I would forget it home so many times. Like
You
I
wore
was the
one?
athlete that was never prepared. So I'm
Wait,
happy.
wait.
Yeah.
You wore a cup?
Well, okay, so I don't know about your coach. We had someone on our team rupture a testicle. So
Oh
our
yeah, that was like
so
a
our
goalie that
coach
happened.
cup checked everyone every game.
Yeah, no, my coach. If you want a free ball, you could free ball.
Okay, well, either way, my coach cup checked every game, and if you were man enough to get hit in the nuts with a lacrosse stick, you just fucking just swallowed it, or you got a cup and you were fine. But there's so many times I was like, just brace it, it's okay. But yeah, I was that guy. I was the guy that always forgot shit. So that definitely wasn't me. But how about you, Cole? I know you came from sports too, but like, did you have that type of structure Bree did?
So I started going to the gym when I was 12. So I had structure when I was in seventh grade when I was playing my like club lacrosse team. They gave me a binder. I still have the binder to this day. I have to find it and I'll show it one day. And and that was my first piece of structured like things that I had to do. So it was
Hmm.
like a plan of every single day of the week what I had to do. And if I missed one of those days, I had to run. And I didn't like running. And I still don't like running. So I got everything done that I needed to get done. And then as for bodybuilding wise, I think I really got structured in that aspect probably around like I was like 14 or 15, just based off like where I was training at and stuff like that. I was training at Golden Howl. There's a couple of guys that went there, and then after that I switched over to Jersey Shore Fitness Shop, and that's where I kind of like I saw a bunch of bodybuilders and it kind of just snapped for me, and I was like, I kind of like this stuff.
Hmm.
I just saw what they were eating. One of them gave me a meal plan. I just kind of followed it until I couldn't. And then even when I was in college, yeah, I already had that because I was an athlete. So I was like, oh, this is even easier. So they put us on a strict program for lacrosse in college.
Hmm. Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, no, that definitely wasn't me, and it definitely wasn't. Not a lot of people who end up coming to us don't come from that background. So obviously, them building a habit is sometimes difficult.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are some issues then that you feel like a lot of people have when they get started?
So I think the big common issue is that so many of our clients feel like they have to be absolutely perfect out of the gate. And yes, some completely do that, right? Some can surrender the process and adopt everything all at once. But like a lot of people can't do that, and that's completely okay. And I always tell people that perfect is the enemy of good. And at the beginning of a program, all we need you to be doing is being good. That's it. Perfect will come in time, but no one needs to be perfect out of the gate. And it's one of those things that it's the more you stress over the whole process, the more I guess of a job it now becomes. And like this is not supposed to be a job, right? It's supposed to be a hobby that you actually genuinely enjoy. You shouldn't be stressing about any part of this unless you're in prep, right? Like I understand that part of it, but outside of a prep scenario, you should not be stressed about eating food or getting steps or taking supplements. It should be just a basic routine thing. And in time, like repetition, this again, practice makes progress, right? Not practice makes perfect, practice makes progress. So like eventually maybe week 1 you got 85% of it done. Week 2 you got 87, and then maybe 4 weeks in you're at 95%. And the only thing you're fucking up on is you get 9,750 steps each day compared to 10,000, right? Like you're getting closer to hitting all the marks each day. And obviously like, there's ways to get around that, but I think the big problem is people want to be perfect, and it demotivates them out of the gate when they can't be.
Right. And they're trying to do way too much at once that it
Mhm.
just they can't get anything done at all.
Exactly.
Yeah, completely agree with you, Mark. Some of them do come out like guns blazing, and it's immaculate to see they just I'm able to get everything right away. But then
Mhm.
others, it's like small wins over time, and it just accumulates over time. And then
Yeah,
just
'cause,
one
like
little change, it's like you have 365 days in a year. If you can get 1% better every single day, that's 365% better. So you're
yeah,
3 times the person you were that day in a year, almost 4
absolutely.
times.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is this, everyone's version of winning is slightly different, right? My version of winning is winning an actual show. Someone else's version of winning, maybe just fitting in a pair of pants they fit in 5 years ago. Someone else, their version of winning may just be getting off a beta blocker or getting off a statin or reducing the amount of insulin they take each day. Everyone's version of winning is slightly different. And depending on what your version of winning is, the amount of adherence you need kind of changes, right? Like someone who just trying to get healthier, if they were 85% on plan, chances are they're gonna get healthier, right? Like unless that 15% is literally drinking lard, like they're going to get healthier. There's no ifs, ands, or buts around it. So that's the thing, man. Like, don't be hard on yourself. Like, everyone who's coming into a program like this probably hasn't done it before in the past. And if you are, like, to give yourself some grace until you fully get back in the swing of things.
For sure.
100%.
So, what are some things you think someone should do to make sure they can start building these habits? Because I know, like for me, I utilize a checklist and a calendar, and like most importantly, like set up my environment to make sure that I get everything done. So, what are some things you'd say, Mark?
Yeah. No, absolutely. So like I'm all about environmental design. And like I don't mean like burning sage like in your fucking house or like putting crystals out. I mean just designing an environment for success. So this could be like putting your morning supplements next to your coffee machine so you make sure to take them each day. This could be literally putting your gym bag by the front door so you physically have to step over each morning. This could be literally setting alarms throughout the day so you go for that 10-minute walk so you don't fall crazy behind on steps. Like this could be anything like that to remind you to check something off your checklist. And kind of like you mentioned before, like if you just have a list of things you have to accomplish each day, it's easy to actually do them. Because if you don't have a list of things to do, things will fall by the wayside, you'll forget about it, and they won't be top of mind. But if you have a physical list, it's hard to forget what's on it. It's like going food shopping. How many times have you been food shopping and you forget one item because you didn't fucking write it down? Me every fucking week.
I have a checklist on my phone in my notes, and it's literally all my food organized by macro, and then I just check it off.
So Brie doesn't forget any food when he goes food shopping. So thanks for making me feel like a douche.
Sometimes,
I go like 3 or 4 times a week. So,
You're a better man than me.
well, I have to go 3 to 4 times because I forget stuff. And then when I'm
Okay.
there, I forget it again. And then I
So
forget
when
it
you and
again.
Brie go, you and Brie live together, that won't happen anymore because Brie would just go food shopping.
pretty much.
Yeah,
So
no, that's going to be 100% her job, not mine.
I
Okay,
have a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
I noticed. Well, Cole, I know you're a big fan of alarms. How do you use them?
I'm a huge fan of alarms. So I set alarms. I have 9 alarms on my phone. I have 1 to wake up, 7 for my meals, and then 1 when I'm supposed to go to bed. I say supposed to. Most of the time I'm
Keyword
still
there.
up eating.
Keyword.
Keyword, yes.
At least you're honest.
Most of the time I'm still up eating if I fall behind by 1. Most of the time I fall behind on like one of my meals because if it's a training day, because if it's a leg day, I run over pretty far on how far I think I'm gonna take when it comes to
Hmm.
lifting. So it's like normally instead of being like a 2-hour session, it's like normally closer to like 3. So that pushes
Yeah,
everything back by an hour. So then
no,
I'm
for
up for
sure.
another
Between
hour.
warming up and stretching and everything else, it definitely like lengthens the time of it. Like I've had so many workouts that I felt a little extra tight today, so I took a little long on a warm up, so that runs over, and I couldn't. I had to do an extra 10 minutes of walking because I didn't go. I didn't get enough steps in, so let me just bang it out now. So like, absolutely, and things just happen throughout the day. So the the cool thing about the alarms is that you can always set snooze, right? And I'll push it back 10 minutes, and you're only gonna push snooze so many times as you execute.
Yeah, no. So during prep, I don't miss. I hit everything is exactly on time. And there's some times I think I've texted you a few times where I was like, oh, dude, I'm like really hungry. Like, can I eat early? Like,
Yeah,
and that's like even going for like 30, 40-minute walks, like in between meals, like just because like I had nothing to do. Like,
absolutely.
I was just trying to bang out 16,000 steps, and now it's 30-minute walks. We're pretty good until you're drinking 3 gallons of water. Then it's not fun. That's the only thing I won't recommend. Don't do 30-minute walks when you're drinking 3 gallons of water.
But
Well, you didn't really have that many back then. It's 3 gallons your last week.
Yeah,
Right?
no, I was still walking though.
Yeah, but it wasn't that much back then. You were tapering down your peak week.
I was 16,000 for the first 2 days,
Yeah,
and then you dropped me to 10.
2 days. 2 days. You make it seem like it's forever, right? 2 days. You walked for
That's
two
a
days.
rough 40, dude. That's a rough 48 hours.
well, it's something you choose to do.
Right?
Oh, I know. I enjoy it, so I enjoy starving
Like
myself
I
by
wanted
everyone else's standards.
I wanted to go back to the checklist thing because I also use the reminders on my phone. So it's
Mhm.
similar to like an alarm. I set it for the time and the day that I want it to show up, and then
Uh-huh.
it continues to stay on my phone screen until I physically go in and check it off. So I think
Really?
yeah, I think that's something a lot of people can use too because it doesn't like flash on my phone or make noise or anything, but it just stays on my phone screen. So anytime I look at my phone, it's that reminder.
Fuck, I didn't know that was a thingy. So, hey, if you're a reptar like myself, apparently your iPhone can do this. I had no fucking idea.
Yeah, it's the reminders
Yo,
app.
it's really difficult to work, Mark. I can't even figure it out still.
I'll
Okay.
show you.
You said that to me the last time. It didn't help.
We'll fix it.
It's great though. It shows me what I have to do that day though.
Yeah,
I just don't know how to click. I just don't know how to click the little check mark.
I just
Tell
don't
me you're on the spectrum without telling me you're on the spectrum.
he just doesn't know how to check it off.
Well, no, I try and click it on my home screen and it doesn't work.
No, you have to go into the app to check it off.
Oh yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm just gonna read what I have to do, and I'm just gonna read what I have to do it, and then okay, I'm done.
Live with it on your screen forever. Got it.
I think you can swipe it to the side though and then click. But I'm not sure how you physically go into the app and do it. Because I like to hit the
Gonna
check
find out.
go away.
Does it make a
Um,
sound?
I don't know, I have my sounds off, so maybe. But anyways, Mark, I know you like to use your calendar. I know you sent me a screenshot one time and it was literally every single thing laid out that you had to do that day, which I really appreciate. Being OCD like
Right?
I am.
So absolutely, there's something called Parkinson's law, and it pretty much states that work will expand to fill any available time until completion. So, which the layman's term means if you don't block out time to get something done, it will take as long as you want it to get done. And more than likely, you'll push it off, and it'll take way more time. You'll push it off to the very end point of the day, and you do it like last minute if you procrastinated, or three just doesn't get fucking done. And at the end of the day, that falls all on us that it didn't get done. So time blocking just guarantees that you get tasks done throughout the day to their completion. Like if you say I'm gonna do this and it'll take me 3 weeks, you know what? It'll take you 3 weeks to do it. But if you give yourself 30 minutes, I bet you get most of it done in 30 minutes.
Like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Like think of it come to cleaning your room, right? If you're like, hey, I'll have my room clean by Friday, you're not cleaning your room until fucking Thursday night. Like, let's be very honest with ourselves. Like, if we say that, that's probably what's gonna happen. But if you blocked out 20 minutes every day on your calendar to clean your room, before Friday, your room will be clean.
Very true. Right?
Guilty.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
I've heard
doesn't he
stories.
doesn't plan to clean his room. So
No.
it just doesn't get done.
No, it gets done. I have things in a strategic spot. There's things in certain areas that I know that where it is, and I don't want to move it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
You,
it's
you
because
know,
I use them all the time.
hoarders say that too, right? Have you watched hoarders?
I'm not hoarding anything. It's actually all useful things.
That's what they say too. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I
those
have
are like the rats that climb over.
I have these, so I can use them at night. I have my little
Okay, we don't
garbage
need
can.
to record. Garbage can.
I have my blood pressure right here. My blood glucose is downstairs, sitting where I sit to eat my first meal, so I remember to do it every morning.
You need a cabinet,
That's good.
right? You need a cabinet.
I have two.
You know, put everything in the cabinet.
The cabinet.
I already did that. Yeah, I'm not get. I can't get. I can't get any more cabinets. They're not giving me one. I asked. They told me no.
Go get an organizer. Go for take him to Five Below, Bree. Take him to Five Below. Get him an organizer. Just shove it all in there.
Little bins and folders.
Yeah, little bins and folders.
All right.
Yeah.
It works.
So, Mark, even with your calendar, you have a scheduled time block where you have your sleep also. So, I know many people struggle to go to bed early enough. Besides taking a sleep aid, what are some things that people can do to get to bed on time?
I guess I gotta ask you, Bree, what do you do yourself first?
So I have blue light glasses, and then I also have my focus set on my phone to basically like it reminds me to go to bed at or like get into bed by like 10:30, and then it also like silences all my notifications and everything, so I just put my phone down and go to bed.
No, that's a great way to do it. And like, I'm a big believer in like blue light glasses. I think they're super helpful. I think that's one of the things that disrupts sleep a lot. But like, besides just going to bed at a normal time, like not everyone can really elongate their sleep. So you have to maximize the amount of time they can actually get when they're actually sleeping by just improving quality. And one of the best ways to kind of do this is by changing our environment. So, like you said, wearing blue light glasses like after 7 p.m. is a great way to do that. Adding blackout blinds to your bedroom to make sure there's no additional light coming in from the outside, like even the moonlight. And if you have street lights outside, lowering the temperature of your house to 68 degrees or below will help improve sleep quality. Eliminating any artificial light from your room. So this could even be a little light on your television. Put a little piece of electrical tape over that so light doesn't shine through anymore. It could even be things like wearing earplugs when you go to bed, or even using a mask over your eyes to block out any additional light you may have. Maybe your partner like to stay up and watch television when you're trying to go to sleep. Like anything like that to block it out. Or let's say someone snores, right? Someone snores really loud. You can buy earplugs.
I wonder who that
anything you
is.
have to do.
My nose isn't that stuffy anymore.
Breathe right strips. Use them for your nose. They work wonders. They actually help you go to sleep too.
All right, everybody. I snore sometimes, but I was sick for like 2 months. Well, I had the sniffles for 2 months.
Yeah, the nuggets.
And I snored so loud on Mark's couch.
So loud.
They looked at me like I did it first, and I was like, "It wasn't me."
It was the most embarrassing thing ever.
It was pretty funny.
If any of you ever seen Little Nicky, it reminded me of. Have you seen Little Nicky, Bree,
The what?
with Adam Sandler?
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay.
Probably.
So for those who watch Little Nicky, there's a scene where Adam Sandler falls asleep, and in that movie, he's the son of Satan. And when he sleeps, his snoring is like sounds of a demon. That's what Bree sounds like when she snores when she sleeps. Go YouTube that. After this, I'm YouTubing it so you can see it, so you can understand. Because it's terrifying that that sound comes out of something so small.
It's loud, man.
I was not well.
I was not well.
I was not. I couldn't breathe out of my nose. So, anyways, when it comes to meal prepping, what do you feel like people have issues with when they get started?
So I know Bree. I know, like, do you prep your meals like once a week, or do you a couple of times throughout the week?
It's probably like once or twice. I do a lot of it on Sunday, and then like obviously chicken doesn't last very long, so I'll do that again. That kind of thing. And I just use my grocery checklist on my phone. But I feel like a lot of people get really overwhelmed when they're like, I have to meal prep like all of this for the whole entire week, and it's just like they're making it a little bit bigger than it actually is.
For sure. And like there's so many different ways to go around meal prepping that like there isn't a one size fits all approach. Like I have some clients that meal prep every 2 days because they like having the food a little bit more fresh and they have the time available to do that, which is completely okay. I have clients that literally meal prep try to like 5 days in advance, which is also okay. and they like freeze them when they're 2 days out. Like they freeze half of it and they put in the fridge like the day before to let defrost. Like you can always do things like that, but like you don't have to prep Monday through Saturday all in one night. Like that's a I don't know about you, my fridge would not be big enough between me and my wife doing that. So the way we kind of do it is that we cook the rice. The rice is simple, rice cooker, golden, put it in there, set it, forget it. Chicken we air fry it in the air fryer, same exact thing. You set it and forget it.
Mhm.
Our beef probably one of the only things we actually actively wash. We cook it in a frying pan, so we actually have to participate in the cooking of that. Um, and we break everything down into very big containers, right?
I
We'll
do too.
put like 5 pounds of cooked chicken in a Tupperware. We'll put all the like 2,000 grams of rice in Tupperware, and we'll put, let's say, 5 pounds of beef in Tupperware. And we just prep or weigh out the day before to
Mhm.
make things easy. And again, we don't have that much space in our fridge for me to have 7 meals in there and for her to have 5 meals in there for every single day of the week. I need a whole separate fridge to do that.
Right.
Now, I will say, like, definitely put some love and care into your food too. Like, if you're a picky eater, that's not going to instantly go away because you started a program. It's not going to happen. And I normally like to relate this to men because my women always take lots of care into the food because they like to cook. A lot of my men try to eat things like super plain and don't season their stuff, and then they end up like, "Oh, I'm sick of this." Well, no wonder why. And like,
Hmm.
if you had sex in the same position every single day for the rest of your life, you would eventually hate the way you had sex. It was what happened, right? Doesn't matter how good it was, you're gonna hate it eventually. And the same thing applies to food. So if you never season your chicken and you never season your beef, and you don't put any love and care into it, and you eat the same exact way every single day, you're gonna hate it. No matter what the meal is, you're gonna fucking hate it.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that start meal plans and they're like, "Oh, now it has to be bland." And we get so many questions too. Like, we actually went out to eat with my dad and my stepmom, and they're like, "Do you eat your food bland? Like, you don't put anything on it?" We're like, "No, there's so many things that like we can use that make it taste good and that we enjoy." Which,
Yeah. And, like, it blows my mind that like people often think like healthy and think bland, but it's just like the way that the media has always perceived it for people, and like, and so many people demonize so many things. Like I just had a meal a moment ago. It was my beef and rice meal. I threw my rice in the frying pan. I threw like 2 tablespoons of salsa, so it's 10 calories. Squeezed some lime juice over top. Threw some fresh cilantro in there, and then put that as the base. And then I put my beef on top. So I had like seasoned spicy rice with my beef. It was like having a Chipotle meal. But like nothing I ate or added to that did anything negative to the meal. I added 10 calories from salsa and some lime juice and cilantro, but it changed the whole entire meal. So
I'm a hot
put
sauce
love in your
person.
food if you want to love it. Or yeah, like you said, Ross's sauces.
Mhm. So, um, I know we stress the importance of our clients tracking their lists. I personally use Google Sheets just because that's what we kind of started using where some of my lifts were, and then I just put my reps and the weight in there, so I just kept using it. But what are some things that you guys use?
So like we normally encourage our clients to use this app called Strong. And the reason why I like encouraging our app users or using our clients to use the app called Strong is because one, it shows you what you did the previous week in there, and it also makes suggestions to increase your rep or weight. Which is a good thing, right? Because like not everyone goes to the gym with the intent of beating themselves, even though we tell them that the goal is to go to the gym and beat yourself every week. But seeing the actual visual reward on the app too, I feel like encourages people because when you finish it, it actually gives you like a report card, and it says like, hey, like you had 7 PRs today. And it's a good way for someone to stack wins, right? Now, granted, obviously, if you gym hop a lot, some gyms things weigh different things at different gyms, right? Not every cable machine feels and weighs the same. Not every chest press machine feels and weighs the same. So there will be some discrepancies if you gym hop a lot, and that's why I kind of encourage people hit your major lifts in probably at a same gym, or if you go into different gyms, try to use gyms that have similar equipment from a progress standpoint. But I understand it's a new habit for a lot of people because most people don't track their workouts to recreationally lift it. It's not something they do. But I like to use the analogy of finances because I feel like everyone can relate to money. When you are saving money to buy something you really care about, maybe a first car or buying a home, you look at your account pretty often because it means a lot to you and you're saving up for a very specific goal. And your physique shouldn't be any different. Our progress behind strength training and activity is to be the number one driver of progress change with our physique. And if we're not actively analyzing and looking at those numbers, we're doing ourselves truly a disservice. Because we would put that amount of research and effort into our bank account, but when it comes to a weight training program that we're paying a coach to execute on, we should definitely put that effort into it as well. Because again, it will only propel you forward. And like you'll get a better return on your investment in the gym. If you're training for 6 months and you're doing the same weights and reps every single week compared to you going to the gym for 6 months, beating yourself each and every day, even if it's by one rep, you're going to make much more progress. That's what this whole entire thing is about, is making progress. It's a form of adaptation response. That's all what building muscle is. So just to save yourself any agony of saying I'm not putting on any muscle or I'm stagnant, track your workouts and it'll help you so much more. And probably the best way of getting a habit of it is if you don't have an app to do it, maybe even record one lift from every single exercise, right? And just watch it back and save it. I know, like, I've had clients do that didn't actually log, but they just recorded their workouts. And they're like, oh, I got it for 10 last week. Let me try 11 today. Granted, it's a lot of time sucking having to watch a video every fucking week. You went to the gym. But hey, if that's what you want to do, so you don't have to physically write things down, by all means. As long as you know exactly what we did last week, I'm cool with it.
Yeah. And even with the videos too, I think it's cool to look back and see how like form and tempo change too.
Yeah. Especially with big compounds. Like when you look at like a deadlift or a squat, like, oh wow, like this move's like more smooth and it's much more controlled compared to last time.
Mhm.
Yeah. I watched my squat back the other day and I was like, wow, this looks like a lot smoother than what it felt like.
Yeah, there's big compounds when you get more like I almost want to say like when we're maturing in your lifting journey, you kind of like completely leave the ego out the door and you enjoy and you embrace things more like tempo and pauses. You're like, yeah, fuck yeah, I took that like 385 for a pause, but like you 3 years ago was like, oh, I'm just trying to get 405, right? And it's cool how the mindset changes when you realize that just chasing a number is just not going to help us specifically.
No, numbers don't matter.
Hey man, I got like that's the one thing that me and Ross always joke about. We always say that we're weak bodybuilders because like there's people who are half our size that move double the weight. But again, the goal is not to be a power lifter, right? That's not the actual goal. The goal is not to move an object from point A to point B. The goal is to create as much stimulus as possible. And in some cases, you need the proper load, right? You need the proper load to create that. But people often forget that tendons and ligaments have the tensile strength of steel, right? So you can move a lot of shit with just tendons and joints. And like that's why like
Mhm.
I laugh so much when I see people like do and like, I shouldn't laugh in reality, but when I see people who lift way more amounts than they should and use either elbows or up by the ear when they're pressing, and just like okay, or their traps are like this when they're trying to do like the hammer strength decline machine. I'm like you're literally using our ligaments to press this. You're not using any of your chest, but that's neither here nor there. But it's cool watching people progress in the lifting journey. Even like when we look at some of our clients that came to us with bad form and just seeing them evolve over the critique over time, and it's cool. Even we have some newer clients that's like, oh, your third week in, this you're mastering a movement that you came to me and looked atrocious before. Now, I guess do any of you have any other pieces of advice for people new to the game? Cole, you want to go?
I would say if you have problems with time management, set alarms.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you have a strict bedtime so you can actually get a full amount of sleep because that's probably going to be the biggest driver in everything. Make sure you take your time when you're doing things and be meticulous about everything. Critique yourself. Not everyone
Absolutely.
needs to. Yeah, you don't always need a cheerleader on the sideline. Sometimes you just got to critique yourself a little bit, and you'll make your time management 10 times better.
Hey man, honesty is the best policy, especially when it comes to ourselves, man. Ego is the absolute enemy, and being able to truly self-actualize ourselves and realize what we're truly doing is the key to everything at the end of the day. If that is bodybuilding, if that's starting a business, if that's being a better man, whatever it is, the self-actualization part of it and realizing what you're actually doing is key.
100%.
What I'm going to say is write down your goals and visualize them, and then write them down and put them into play.
Hell
And
yeah.
the
No,
tools that
absolutely.
we give you to do that.
Now, Brie, I gotta ask you because I know you love doing lists and checklists. Were you ever a post-it note person?
Yeah, I have one right here.
Love it. I love it.
Go
So, like,
put some stuff
when
in.
honestly, I used to be such a post-it note person, and like when I worked in software, when I would walk into work every single day, I would put them all around my laptop or around the edge, and it'd be things like 50 phone calls before noon, send 10 emails before 1, 5 replies, 2 proposals. It would be all on my laptop, and I would refuse to go home until they were all done. And,
Yeah.
and that was actually something I got from like David Goggins, because David Goggins uses like the reference point of putting them on your mirror every single day, and you can't look yourself in the mirror until you clear off your checklist, right? And honestly, it's more of like a self actualization thing, because you physically should not be able to look yourself in the mirror if you let yourself down, right? And like obviously, there's levels of ownership, right? Everyone has to start somewhere on the ladder of ownership, and there's obviously a point of extreme ownership. There's a great book actually by Jocko Willink called Extreme Ownership, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a concept that he teaches to entrepreneurs and business owners that in essence says that no matter what your employee does, it's your fault as an owner and your fault as a manager, no matter what it is. And like I'll break it down into like actual day scenario. I didn't go food shopping today. So if I go food shopping tomorrow and there's no cream or rice, it's my fault, right? Because if I went today, there could have been cream or rice. We won't know, but we also don't know that there wasn't cream or rice there. So if I go tomorrow and there's no cream or rice, it's only my fault they're out of stock. No one else's fault. And is that type of ownership that will obviously propel us in every aspect, especially when it comes to this journey, is that realizing that everything we do is falls back on us. No matter what excuse we make, and no matter if the excuse is real or fake, it falls back on us. And it all depends on, do you want to give yourself grace when it comes to that excuse, or do you want to hold yourself accountable, depending on if it's real or not, right? Like, oh, I have a sick loved one. Okay, I will hold myself grace here because that's a realistic problem, right? I'm okay with that. Well, I was stuck at work late. Well, there was other options. I could have went to Planet Fitness. I could have done this. Could have done that. Could have worked out in my driveway. Like whatever it is, right? Like there's real excuses and there's ones that we say.
Yeah.
So my big thing I would say to take away from anyone who's new from this is not only set goals but set expectations. Right? There should be a minimum standard in which you operate at, and that minimum standard will be different for every person. And you need to find out what yours is and where you draw the line. And wherever that line is, you need to stay hard and fast with that. So wherever that line in the sand is, if you find yourself slipping out or past that line, you need to hold yourself accountable, whatever that is. If that's staying up too late, if that's going out with friends too often, if that's spending too much time on TikTok, if that's being on Instagram too much, if that's going on too many dates with random people, if that's spending too much time on social media or too much time gossiping or not enough time reading, whatever that is, make sure that wherever that line in the sand is, when you cross that, you make sure you reel yourself back in. So, until next time, guys, thank you for watching Coach's Corner. Make sure you like and subscribe to this episode. If you have any questions, make sure to send any of us a DM. Until next time, guys, please take care.